What is good, YouTube? It's Joey, and today we are coming with the off-season outlooks for the NFC East. I have to record this video again because the other video, it had echo issues, so we're currently having to record this again. It's pretty annoying, but yeah, you're just gonna have to bear with me here. I think it's because I have two microphones. I bought this microphone and it's so quiet. Like whenever I talk into it, like it's quiet. So like I don't know. I'm just gonna have to use this other microphone here. But like and subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. What else you'd like to see? We're gonna get into it. 200 subscribers special. I'm going to be rebuilding the Packers when we hit 200 subscribers. I'm going to be creating the team on Madden 12. It's not going to have the same players as the Packers combined with Cardinals team, but it's going to be, new stadium, new uniforms, new name. It's going to basically become a team because I was the last Madden that had created a team on my Xbox 360, so if you guys want to see a rebuilding of the Packers when I create that team, that's going to be dropping when I hit 200 subscribers. So we're like, I don't know, 55 away from that. But anyways, we're going to get into it. NFC East, Dak Prescott, 4-year, $160 million contract. That has a max value of 164, 126 mil guaranteed. So it's a lot of money, a ton of money, but it's worth it. They kind of had to do it, by not extending him last year and paying him a franchise tag. His value only goes up to this year because he proves that the Cowboys really do need him, and that he's just a really crucial part of their team. They struggle a lot more when Dak Prescott is not their starting quarterback. So they lock him up long term. That is good for them. But the thing is here with Super Bowl teams, you want your quarterback on a cheap contract. So with Dak Prescott, this is not a cheap contract. If you have a quarterback on a cheap contract, then you can go out and surround him with talent with your money, and then bam. But Dallas doesn't have that luxury. So these kinds of signings here, that like the 1-year deal, Neshke agent, like these smaller guys, like Neshke, and then these defensive ends and this linebacker Basham, all low risk, all necessary. Dallas needs that depth on that defensive line and linebacker and O line. They can get all the depth they need. Um, but it's obviously not good if their main guys get injured and they have to rely on these backup guys. But it's necessary to have all these guys for depth. But the bigger one who is going to be a starter is Keanu Neal, 1 year, $5 million. I like this move. The Dak Prescott move, I'm going to give a B plus. It's a lot of money. You have to hope that that ankle injury holds up. But for this Keanu Neal thing, I'm going to give it an A. It's $5 million. It's not that much money in terms of the cap space it's affecting. They needed a guy to bolster that defense. They get a guy. They have him listed as a linebacker here, but he can also play safety. They're gonna kind of use him as that hybrid linebacker guy to come in, help the run, which they were very bad at, and then he can also play pass coverage well, as he has experience at playing safety. Um, but yeah, Keanu Neal can make an impact on this. They just need him to stay healthy. Just needs to stay healthy. He's had some concerns doing that. But if he can, that's a good pickup for Dallas. CJ Goodwin, that's quite a bit of money for it's not that much money, but it's a little bit more than what you want to pay your like fifth cornerback or fourth or fifth guy. But it's fine. They're gonna have to keep him there. It's good depth, but 2 years, so it's an alright move. Another depth signing. They get Jordan Lewis back, who's going to probably be a starting corner. He's probably going to play in the slot. 3 years, good for them. And then they get this depth with Curse in the safety room. They desperately need safeties. They get Deontay KZ, good move, and then a long snapper. So Dallas Cowboys didn't really do much in free agency except bring back their quarterback, who was the biggest question mark for them, and they signed Keanu Neal. So again, they didn't really have that much cap space to work with. They paid Zeke a lot of money, but they should have paid Byron Jones. That was a mistake. But they also paid like Amari Cooper a lot of money. They paid DeMarcus Lawrence a lot of money. So they have a lot of big name guys that they're just paying a lot of money. But then what's behind that? So, anyways, for now, Dallas, they lock up their franchise QB for 4 more years. They get a good defensive player. I'd give that an A minus considering what they're working with. B plus. Their New York Giants. They actually did some good things here. They get Mike Glennon as a backup quarterback. He did do well as a backup for the Jaguars when he had to come in and play. Actually had some good performances down the stretch. And earlier in his career with Chicago, he was really bad, but at least they have a serviceable backup. Devontae Booker, 2 years, $6 million. Not that much money. You get some depth at running back, maybe the second guy to Saquon. So that's an all right deal there. You have Kenny Golladay, 4 years, $72 million, $40 million guaranteed. One of the biggest signings of free agency. Kenny Golladay on the Giants now. I like this move for the Giants because they get him for 4 years, not just that 1 year cheap deal. They get him for 4 years, and he can be pretty good for them down the stretch. If they move off from Daniel Jones and get a rookie quarterback in there, then he can have a really good target day one, or whoever's the quarterback's going to have a good receiver for 4 years. He just needs to stay healthy, has had some injury concerns. With Golladay, the great footwork, great catching ability, great player. John Ross, the Kenny Golladay grade, I'd give it an A. It's a lot of money, but he's worth it. It's really good to have a dominant one receiver on your team. John Ross, 1 year, $2.5 million, $1 million guaranteed. It's just like, are you paying this money for a guy who's just not going to be on the field? Because he has injury concerns like crazy, but he is that deep threat, can stretch the field of a defense, can make an offense's job easier. But are you going to be paying $2.5 million for nobody? That's the question up in the air, but I like this move for the Giants. I'd give it a B. B plus, it's a good value. It's just he needs to stay healthy, and it's hard trusting him to do that considering his injury history. Kyle Rudolph, 2 years, $12 million, $4.5 million signing bonus, max 14 million. I like this for the Giants. They get a good red zone target in Rudolph. I like this quite a bit for them. I'd give it a B. I mean, he is aging. He's kind of a little limited. The Vikings don't know how to use tight ends, but it is quite a bit of money. But they kind of needed to get a guy like this in the red zone. He can catch the ball with one hand, kind of good at that. So good move for them. Get some depth at tight end with Evan Ingram, who somehow made the Pro Bowl. Don't ask me. Tunyon should have made it, but then these three guys right here, Fulton, Anderson, and I don't know how to say his name. All depth guys, all low risk deals. Every team needs to do this. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. You need depth in case your top end talent gets injured. You go down the depth chart. So these aren't always necessary. But Leonard Williams got the franchise tag. So the top three salaries at their position. So in this case, at the defensive end position, all of their three salaries averaged for 1 year, fully guaranteed. That's the franchise tag. and you can only do that to one player. So they franchise tag him, and then later they agree on a 3 year, 65 million, 45 guaranteed, and then signing bonus of 22.5 million, and his cap hit does drop to 11 million because they're spreading out that money throughout the years to make the cap hits lower. So Leonard Williams was really good for the Giants last year. Great interior guy. Getting that pressure on the defensive end was pretty good. It's just you need him to stay playing at that level. I like the deal. They kind of needed to lock him up, where that's creates a big hole there. Um, so I give it an A minus. It's quite a bit of money, but again, he's a good player. So Danny Shelton, 1 year deal. You have Dalvin Tomlinson leaving, so you need someone to replace him, and that's Danny Shelton. It was a little bit overwhelming, or underwhelming, but it might be a little bit of a downgrade, but at least they don't get worse and create a hole there. They fill up a hole. Again, free agency, you want to fill up as many holes as you can, so then the draft you can kind of get those other guys and kind of have the best team you can. Uh, Reggie Ragland, 1 year deal, depth at linebacker. They needed it. Danny Shelton, I'd give that signing an A. They needed to do that. Needed a nose tackle. But Adoree Jackson, 3 year, 39 million, max value of 44.5. So he's making more money in the first and second years, than in the third year. So kind of keeping that future open a little bit more with this contract seems like what they're trying to do. But I like this move. I'm going to give it an A minus because it's quite a bit of money. But again, he just needs to stay healthy and consistent. But if he does, the payoff is huge because that could give the Giants a really good secondary with James Bradbury, a great corner. They get another good corner in Adoree Jackson, one of the top corners that was left at that time. And then they had Jabril Peppers and Logan Ryan in that secondary. So that secondary is looking pretty good with this addition. And again, strengthening, getting better. So the Giants weren't afraid to get better. They got their guys back, filled some holes, filled some needs. So I'd give them an A. I think they may have overpaid for some guys like Kyle Rudolph, or maybe it's a little bit too much of investment in Leonard Williams, although he's a great player. Just needs him to stay consistent. But I like their moves. I give them an A. We'll see how it plays out. It's hard to predict the health of guys, but again, Giants not afraid of getting better. That's always a good thing for a team. Philadelphia Eagles get Joe Flacco on this 1 year deal. That's 34.5 million guaranteed, 7.5 million incentives. If he reaches all those goals, he does get 4 million extra. I don't know what the incentives are, but it includes a 2.425 million signing bonus. That has 4 voidable years. So I actually like this because you look at just the numbers, it's like, oh, that's so expensive for a backup quarterback. But they're putting voidable years, meaning they're adding years on the end of his contract, but he's not really going to be on the team. They're just spreading out that money and spreading out the cap hit, so he's less of a cap hit. So again, he's got to earn that money. If that incentives means he's got to reach amount of passing touchdowns and he gets this amount of money, or he plays this amount of time and he gets this amount of money. So Joe Flacco, they needed a backup quarterback, kind of a quarterback that could be capable of starting if Jalen Hurts wasn't working. So I think he kind of fits that system a little bit better than Hurts. The Sirianni system is kind of that more for pocket quarterbacks and not for that kind of dual threat style that Jalen Hurts has. But it's going to be interesting now. So at least they have someone good at the backup position. I mean, Joe Flacco's not really a good quarterback anymore, but it's better than like a Chris Streveler, and the cap hits low, so good for them. They get these two guys, a DT and safety. They needed depth there, so they got that. Uh, the Eagles are cap strapped, but their biggest addition is Anthony Harris on a 1 year, $5 million. I like that they didn't overpay for him just based on his 2019 season because he took a step back last year. But Anthony Harris still has ball hawk ability, still can be good at safety. 1 year, $5 million makes sense. They needed safety help pretty bad. So Eagles cap strapped with the Carson Wentz trade took on a big cap hit for them, but I give them a B. I mean, there wasn't really much they could do. Uh, so they get some good draft capital in return for Carson Wentz, but they just took on so much dead cap. I don't really trust that front office. But anyways, last but not least, Washington football team. They get Ryan Fitzpatrick, 1 year, $10 million, max value of 12. Good for them. They needed some quarterback. They had to cut Alex Smith because cutting him meant saving $15 million. So they get Fitzpatrick, who's not a franchise quarterback. He's only going to be there for 1 year as of now, but he can get the job done. He's played in a lot of systems. He has the experience. He has arm strength. He can make plays. He's athletic, more athletic than Alex Smith. Don't have to worry about a leg or anything, which is good. But yeah, it's quite a bit of money, but it's 1 year. It's now cap space. They're fine. I like this move. They needed a guy like him, a good quarterback. Uh, I would give it. I give it an A. They needed someone who could win them games, and Fitzpatrick is some guy that can do that. He's a little bit inconsistent at times, but he can do that. Lamar Miller, cheap deal, 1 year. Um, they needed depth there. He's probably not going to be their lead back, but depth like this and DeAndre Carter, special teamer, they needed that. They got it. Doesn't really cost them that much. Good for them. They get Adam Humphries, the slot wide receiver from Tennessee. Just needs to stay consistent. Has shown flashes, but just the consistency is a need. They needed some guy in the slot. They got somebody at least. And Adam Humphries. But the bigger one is Curtis Samuel, 3 year, $34.5 million. It's quite a bit of money, but the football team needed some kind of player, some kind of wide receiver outside of Terry McLaurin to take some focus off of him, and Curtis Samuel does that. It's quite a bit of money, about $11 million per year, but again, the long-term deal, I like those better because you have a good player for longer. It's always good. But yeah, he can produce. He's a good complementary receiver. We saw that with Carolina with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. So Curtis Samuel here makes their offense a lot better. And now the concern is that offensive line. You don't have to worry about drafting another receiver as much. David Sharp, depth at tackle, they need that. But the bigger one was franchise tagging Brandon Scherf. He's one of the best guards in football. But this move was a lot of money. I know that. They had to take the top 3 guard salaries and average them. And I think that was I don't know, at least 20 million. It was a lot of money, but again, he's really good at that guard position in the run game and the pass game, so they need to do that. They get this depth at center. They need all the depth and help they can get at offensive line, but they need to draft a top-end guy. Maybe even trade up in the draft to get an offensive line, and they need it bad. But David Mayo, they need a depth at linebacker. David Mayo is a good rotational guy to He's just a good guy to add in the linebacking unit, just depth guy. But the bigger one, William Jackson, getting all this cash, you can just see it there. A max value of 42 million with incentives. It's a ton of money, but you pair William Jackson with Kyle Fuller. Those are two quality number one caliber corners, two really good corners on the outside. And you pair that with the front seven they have, this defense could be the best in football. Like I don't really want to face this defense. You could take two really good receivers. Like if they match up with the Tampa Bay, that could be they could match up with kind of any offense really with with William Jackson, Kyle Fuller, and then in the front you have Chase Young and Montez Sweat and Deron Payne and all those guys. Like that defense could be really the best in football. But it's quite a bit of money. But they 3 years again. It's a long-term deal. You don't have to worry about it until 3 years down the road. So I like that move. Give this one an A minus just because that's a ton of money, but he's a good player. Um, the Curtis Samuel one, I'd give it an A minus because it's a lot of money, but good player. At least they're getting better. That's the thing. And then these two depth corners, always good when you can get depth in a secondary, just in case if someone does get injured, and then they get their kicker, Dustin Hopkins. So football team, not afraid to get better. I like it. They filled needs. I give them an overall grade of A minus because again, the contracts, it's quite a bit of money, but they're looking like a pretty good team. They just need to fix that offensive line, get some linebackers in there, and maybe a running back. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. But football team is going to be pretty interesting. You have or no, not the football team. NFC East is going to be interesting because you have the Cowboys with that talent on offense, but injury concern, bad coaching staff, and bad defense. So who knows there? And then you have the Giants who have a pretty solid roster, but the QB, like, is Daniel Jones going to take that step up? Who knows? And then you have the Eagles who are a mess, cap strapped, and all that. Like all the holes and stuff. And then you have the football team who's getting better, but there's question marks with them. So it's going to be interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. 200 subscribers special. I will be rebuilding the Packinals on Madden 12. Last Madden I've created team. If you guys also want to see, I could put like Trace McSorley, Nathan Peterman. I could use Mason Crosby. I could put them all at QB on online head-to-head and try to win with those quarterbacks. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys all for the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.